when you see a guy like Warren Buffett moving into a Barrick Gold as to what does this imply as far as what Warren Buffett's outlook is for the US economy and for the dollar and for inflation and for the bond market. And, when Buffett was bad-mouthing gold in the past, what he really was saying was that gold is not the best hedge against inflation. It's a non-productive asset. It just sits there. And Warren Buffett always says that he likes to own businesses, not even stocks. He likes to buy businesses. And obviously he does that through the stock market, but he's investing in underlying businesses because he thinks that businesses provide a good hedge against inflation. They have real assets. You can raise prices. It's just that now I think Warren Buffett realizes that inflation is going to be much worse in the future than it's been in the past. And Warren Buffett knows that during periods of very high inflation, which we've had in the past, that's when gold really shines. So I think what this move shows you is that Buffett now understands that the traditional hedges that he's used for inflation are not going to be adequate for the severity of what's coming, because Buffett knows what inflation is. He defines it as an increase in the money supply. He correctly labels it as a tax. And so he knows it. He knows it's just not rising prices. He could see the Federal Reserve debasing the dollar. He sees the deficits. He sees all the spending. And so he understands gold's going to go up. But I think the reason he chose to buy a gold mining company rather than just the metal is because he likes the business aspect of Barrick Gold, because they make money mining gold, and he's not even buying their income streams. But when you buy Barrick Gold, you are in effect buying all the gold in the ground in the mines that they own. So it is a very, very bullish bet on gold. And it's a way for Buffett to be in the business of mining a commodity that he knows is going to be far more valuable in the future than it is today.
So Peter, this is my question to you. If you could get into Buffett's head, and as two heads, two thoughts, why would CNBC not cover it? Why would they not cover it? And the other question is, what are they afraid of? What do you think Buffett sees that I know you see? I think I see, because I've been in it since I was a kid, but I see something not so good. And this is global, again, not US. What do you think he sees coming?
Obviously the talking heads on CNBC want to put on a happy face. They want to pretend everything is great. The economy is great. There's nothing to worry about. And so they're really just dismissing the significance of what Buffett has done by saying, well, it's a small investment, which is true, but we have no idea how many more shares he may have purchased since the end of the second quarter. And of course, how do we know that this is just not the beginning of a major shift? Every journey starts with the first step. And so how do we know that Buffett has completed his journey into the gold sector with this purchase of Barrick? We don't. But the mainstream financial media is afraid to look into the aspect for what it might reveal. And they normally love talking to Warren Buffett. Nobody has interviewed Warren Buffett. I haven't seen a single interview since this news came out where he was on any network discussing why that decision was made. And personally, I think that Buffett is a pretty shrewd guy, and the people that work for him. And if I'm right that this is just the beginning of a major shift, and if Warren Buffett intends to buy more gold stocks, the last thing he would want to do is come out in the open and tell everybody why he's buying, because he doesn't want to have a lot of competition. A lot of people are going to follow in his footsteps. And if he wants to buy gold stocks, he wants to do it quietly. He doesn't want to make a big deal about it. He just wants to buy as much as he can for as cheap as he can.
Where do you see gold going, Peter?
Look, people ask me that question, and, there is no limit, because, there's no floor on the dollar, right? If the dollar became worthless, then the price of gold would be infinite. So obviously, there's a lot of room between, being worth less and being worth less than it is now. But look, I think gold can easily at this point go to 10,000, 15, 20,000. It's going to go much, much higher. I mean, look at where the Dow Jones is. You know, the Dow Jones is what, 26, 27,000, whatever that is. You know, I could easily see the price of gold and the Dow Jones being the same. I mean, they were the same in 1932. They were the same in 1980. So I think that they will be the same again. I just don't know exactly at what price they'll meet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to meet or come close to meeting. And so it's probably not going to happen with the NASDAQ, the Dow down at 5,000. Maybe it could happen at 10,000, but maybe it'll happen at a higher number. I mean, they could both meet at 50,000. You can have the Dow Jones at 50,000 and gold at $50,000 an ounce. But if gold is $50,000 an ounce, you have to understand that 50,000 on the Dow may mean that you're poor, even if you own stocks, and the Dow Jones is at 50,000. If a ounce of gold is at 50,000, you have to ask yourself, how much is a loaf of bread going to cost me, right? So everything is relative. You know, forget about the numbers. It's the purchasing power that matters, not how big the number is, but what you can actually buy.